But we certainly hope our weekly adventures inspire you to get into the out there and maybe plan your own national parks vacation. And of course, summer is the perfect time to visit.
Yes, we've got AAA Senior Vice President of Travel, Paula Twydale, joining us now with some tips to plan the perfect national park. Cozumel will be rain there. There's a decent chance of something developing. This is based on the European model, close to 90%. This is a probability of tropical depression. And so, we want to talk about what could go beyond that.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. This is essentially looking to the early part of next week. We'll be watching that area of disturbed weather kind of hanging out there, western parts of the Caribbean, around the Yucatan. A couple of scenarios that could play out here for us in terms of
your reaction right now for what's going on in the tropics.
Let's get those preparations done. As of our last update on Idalia, the wind's now at 70 miles an hour. That is a high-end tropical storm, just a few miles per hour away from
9 moving over the Gulf of Mexico. This is one to watch. It's going to make landfall tomorrow into parts of Texas, bringing with it opportunities for heavy rain, some gusty winds as well. We got 30-mile-per-hour winds right now with this one, 480 miles to the east-southeast of Port Mansfield, Texas. Movement is west at 16 miles an hour, so it doesn't have a ton of time left here over the Gulf. With that said, the Gulf is warm. We've got that very, very high water temperature, and we've got a lot working for this. So this is expected to strengthen from a 30-mile-per-hour system right now to likely a tropical storm, something in that 40 to 55-mile-per-hour range. Could see higher.
Kind of getting close to the coast and moving quickly, so there's not that much time left. That's the limiting factor.
Time's just not on its side.
Time is not on its side.
These areas need the rainfall. We'd obviously like to keep the winds in check. Hurricane hunters, they're out there taking a look at this. This is going to help us diagnose what could be likely to happen here in the next 12 to 16 hours.
You're right, and here they are, right here, showing you where they're positioned.
We're going to continue to watch this because we're going to start to see some big changes with this cone. Not necessarily where we're seeing it right now. It could take a little bit of wobble either to the left or the right.
It could, so don't pay too much attention to who's in this and who's not. Just along the Gulf Coast, you need to start preparing now. This is moving in late Tuesday. And throughout the day on Wednesday, things will be going downhill very quickly. But it's not just right at the coast, feeling the impact.
To Miami, to Chicago, to Dallas. It's also been deadly. 152 people have known to have died from the heat so far. And to put that in perspective, that's more than Hurricane Ian last year, the deadliest Florida hurricane in almost 90 years. So we want to bring in FEMA Region 5.
And I mean, you have to get out of its way, right? So we're talking upwards of a foot of rain here across much of western Tennessee as that plume of moisture moved on in. And we're seeing those storms that are definitely moving on in into places like Tallahassee. So we'll see those storms each and every day. Check out the temperatures here in Tallahassee too. So it's not just the storms, but it's the heat fueling these storms. We are looking for that threat. So let's talk about the timing you can expect to see as we head through today. So starting here in Oklahoma City, you can see where the storms are bearing down on you and will likely be on the north side of town first here. As we head in through the rest of this morning, we'll see them developing on the north side first, and then as the day wears on, perhaps at around 7 o'clock or so, we'll start to see those storms moving in from the west, and by the early morning hours, we'll likely see widespread storms moving in here, heavy rain, gusty damaging winds, probably a lot of lightning too, with that thunder that could be waking you up in the middle of the night here in Oklahoma City, and then tomorrow morning get a little break in the action, perhaps to head out to Sunday services. We're looking at Dodge City, Kansas, showing those storms off to the east for the most part, but there is a few
of it now. So it's extending all the way up to the north. You can see some of those heat advisories there as this big dome of high pressure continues to work its way across the area. And this thing is going to start to slide a little bit off towards the east, and that's why that heat will continue to expand to the north and also off towards the east. Vegas right season, even though no storm has made landfall.
Yeah, that's because multiple insurance companies are pulling the plug, choosing not to renew policies, some leaving the state altogether.
Yeah, it's a trend being seen in more states as natural disasters increase. NBC News senior consumer investigative correspondent Vicki Newen looks at what's
the changing of the winds, and that changes that weather pattern out there. For Tucson in July, we've seen
problems this week with summer travel headaches. And Lynette, boy, you have more on that incredible story where folks access the central point of that ridge where we feel the most impact, pushing to the east towards the Central Plains. That means more and more people will be feeling the heat as we head into this week. So it's definitely impactful here. It definitely wears after day where we see this excessive heat. It really has an impact. You know, the last 100-degree day we had in Des Moines was over 2 years ago in June.